When we're talking about being above illusions, you need to pay very close attention to some of the things that were being said by Jesus to make sure you're not falling into the trap of the devil. Because the devil fell down to the world, saw all around him, and saw everything around him, and took it literally and as real, and he decided to claim it. To claim an illusion, that doesn't make any sense.
I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for that day. The moment I start to do bullshit.
The more I
Just for
learned at
clips all day,
ECPI,
every
the more
day,
I
I'm
fell
not
in
doing
love
that shit.
with cybersecurity.
Accelerated
If
degrees.
niggas don't want to watch my shit, then don't watch my shit.
You can't manifest until you know who the Antichrist is and you have the capability to transcend the Antichrist. Now, this word is entirely loaded. AJ told me that my Antichrist here ain't scary, which is good because niggas need to start being afraid of this stuff. Now, I'm going to break down who the Antichrist is, but simultaneously how you are Jesus and the devil. But not only that, but how knowing this will put you in a path to actually materializing your desired reality. Because I'm not here to just talk and let you niggas listen. As I always say, spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. So everything that we're going to be building upon today will actually make your path to materializing your desired reality much more easier without you having to do all this shit that this industry has been making niggas do, like look in the mirror and talk like a psychopath saying, I'm so happy, and writing down shit in a gratitude journal that you don't even fucking mean, or making vision boards on Pinterest. Now, let's get into it.
Someone said, what the fuck is no Diddy?
Somebody said, what's no Diddy? If you know, you know, innit? If you know, you know. Alright, cool, guys. As always, I don't just rush into it. I like to take time with it. Pause. Before I actually get you to the point where you need to be, I need to lay down the foundation. The wood must always be laid first. Pause again. Chances are, depending upon how you were raised, there's going to be a certain level of cognitive dissonance that I'm going to trigger throughout this video. So it's important that I give things in steps. So relax, you're going to get some. The first thing that I have to lay down is the difference between what you've been taught and the truth of the matter. Now, typically, whenever we're looking at religious text or religion themselves, there's two categories that one can fit into. There is what's known as the esoteric, and then there's what's known as the exoteric. Now, both of these words have etymological origins in Greek. Esoteric comes from the Greek word esoterikos, which means inner, specifically a reference to the inner circle. And exoteric comes from the Greek word exoterikos, which means outer, reference to the outer circle. Now, what you have to understand is this, and I say that as somebody who has read the Bible. I have the Nag Hammadi texts, I have the Apocrypha, Book of Enoch, Book of Adam, Book of Judas, Book of Thomas. I have a Quran, I have a Bhagavad Gita, I have a Torah, I have a Talmud, I have the Tao Te Ching. I'm somebody who simply looks for the esoteric interconnectedness of religion, so I can use that to practically materialize the life that I want. And what you have to understand is this: religion is a business. On an institutional level, most of us who grow up in church are taught the exoteric. We're taught the stuff for people on the outer. And the way that I would conceptualize this is like slop. So if you ever see like slop in films, it has no nutritional benefit, but it soothes the appetite, which is exactly how I would conceptualize what goes on in the world. Because the truth of the matter is, and you can just like this or not, but it's a fact, the most oppressed, poor, struggling areas of the world are those that are the most religious. And that's just how it is. And it's for the mere fact that even though millions and billions of people across the world claim that their appetite is soothed, their lives aren't being changed, which is vanity, as Solomon said. Esoterically in the Bible, all is vanity on his deathbed. But the esoteric is typically what's reserved, or what was reserved for the high priests, for those that the secrets were passed down. And of course, all of these religions break down from ancient civilizations, typically the Nile Valley civilizations. If you want a good book that breaks that down, the origins of these religions, go get a book by Anthony Browder called Nile Valley Civilizations. So, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization. Yes, perfect book. The way that I would conceptualize the esoteric is soul food. So a lot of the things that I'm going to say in this video, don't think I'm a religious nigga, because I'm not. A lot of the things I'm going to say in this video, and I'm not a spiritual nigga. We don't like them niggas over here.
Yeah.
A lot of the things
I hate
in this
the
video might hit your ear wrong. It might sound demonic, maybe even satanic, but I can assure you, there's no pentagrams in this room or anywhere here. Ask AJ. He's been here. You've been here a lot. He's always come into my house. Pause. He said that at the same time. Jinx. You just want to beat me so bad. Stop flirting with me. But anyways, as I was saying, esoteric is a reference to the information that was typically passed down to the high priest or kept within the occultic orders. This isn't the information that everybody else is going to sound. This is the type of information that when it's said to you, it's going to hit your ear incorrectly. So I just had to lay that down before I do what I'm about to do right now. So relax, you're going to get some.
If you ever tried asking questions to ChatGPT for research,
and you're probably thinking, what does the Antichrist have to do with manifesting my reality, bro? Relax, you're gonna get some. Relax, 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 relax. Somebody triggered me on one of my videos and said that you didn't clean your board properly. Listen, what you niggas have to realize is this. You guys have dirty screens. Clean your screens. There's no dirt on this board, ever. Trust me. That's impossible. Okay, perfect. So, let's get down to this, right? So, when we talk about the Antichrist, I think it's very important that we actually draw some parameters as a prerequisite to knowing the Antichrist. Now, when we think about the Antichrist, it's a word that is often thrown around. It's often utilized in fear-mongering by religious people in order to scare people into becoming religious, which is completely paradoxical considering that fear is one of the lowest frequencies that one can experience. So how can one be close to God, the highest of frequencies, while in a state of fear, the lowest of frequencies?
Facts.
But nonetheless,
I used to be in a
when we
state
look
of
at the
hell
concept of
when
the
I was a Christian.
Antichrist, anti means
I
against.
was scared I'll go to hell. Like, that's not, bro.
Against Christ. But here's the thing. A lot of us grew up with this idea that Christ is some white boy with long hair, so on and so forth. And for you smart niggas, of course, you can say, yes, he was from the Middle East. And for you extra smart niggas, you can say, yes, he was black, so on and so forth. And we could have that conversation, but nobody's got time for that. The only thing that I have time for is to get you closer to your desired reality. So make sure you take notes, leave them in the comments as usual. Lock into what I'm about to say. Typically, whenever we hear about the Antichrist, we actually never pay attention to, first, what does Christ truly mean? And here's the thing. If you ask the average nigga on the street who is Christ, they'll tell you Jesus, as if that's his full name, Jesus Christ. No. Christ is exactly what I'm about to explain. So Christ has two particular etymological origins. You can either look at Christ as originating from the Hindu tradition of Krishna, or you can look at it from the etymological origins of the ancient Egyptian, also known as the ancient Kemet, the word Krst. Krst meaning the anointed one. Krishna being somebody of spiritual divinity, a title of spiritual mastery. Same thing with Christ, the anointed one, but it was a reference to a level of spiritual mastery, a title. So, Christ isn't a person. Christ is a title in the same way that you would say Mr. and Mrs. is a title, or Sir, or Ma'am, so on and so forth. Christ is a title of spiritual mastery. And Jesus wasn't the only Christ. There were 16 Christs before Jesus, including Krishna being one, Iyao of Indra, Enoch in the Bible, also known as the Prophet Idris in the Bible, in the Quran, also known as Mercury to the Romans, also known as Hermes to the Greeks. Multiple Christs before Jesus, a level of spiritual mastery. And the easiest way we can conceptualize spiritual mastery for the purpose of us moving closer to our desired reality is being above illusions. Because you cannot be in the reality you want until you're above the illusion of your reality currently. Because in order for you to manifest your desired reality, you actually have you need to have the capability to put yourself above the illusion and move closer to the aspect of you that is closest to truth, which is God, in order to alter reality down to the lowest level, which is what we call the physical plane or the third dimensional realm. That is what Christ is. Christ is a high level of consciousness.
If you're not a profitable trader, after working with me in 8 weeks, I will personally hand you $7,000. And
Christ is the materialization of the highest level of consciousness. When I say materialization, I just mean it's solely existing within the physical plane. And I want you to think about it like this. Philippians 2:5-11, if you just read that particular passage, it said, let this mind, consciousness, let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, did not find it robbery to be equal with God. Didn't find it robbery or blasphemy to be equal or one with God, because Christ had allowed that level of consciousness to materialize physically. Hence why typically in these traditions, there's God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. This is nothing more than a reference to the triune nature of us as human beings. We exist on the mental plane, physical plane, and spiritual plane. Mind, body, soul. It's the exact same thing, just repeated differently for different levels of consciousness to understand this. And one thing that I want to say before I preface this, of course, for most people, this is going to sound completely evil, but I can assure you, I have no way I want to lead you. I don't have a cult. Technically, I kind of do. They made the cult themselves in the comments. It's got nothing to do with me, so on and so forth. But this is why it might hit your ears differently, because you've been taught to conceptualize Christ as an individual, but Christ is a high level of consciousness. Hence why Jesus said, the works that I do, you can do them too, and you can do greater, because I go to my Father. I go to the highest level of consciousness. Look at all the crazy shit that Jesus was supposedly doing. Water to wine, raising people from the dead, so on and so forth. Do you think you can do any of those things? And of course, I'm not one of them spiritual niggas that's gonna try get you to levitate and do telekinesis with all that corny shit that you see niggas doing. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that the potentiality for you to alter your reality, if that was something Christ had the capability of doing, for him to say, the things that I can do, you can also do and do greater, that should get your head to understand. But here's the thing, you don't see yourself on the same level as Christ. You don't, because you've been taught to see a distance between you. Except for what it really is, which is an aspect that is part of you. Christ is an aspect that is part of you. And I want you to think about it like this. Don't worry, we're just getting started. Relax, you're going to get some. Think about it like this. So of course you're thinking, all right, cool, Nero, if Christ isn't a physical person, what are we doing right? What are we doing right? I ain't a tough guy, I always make everybody laugh. I could spit all of my bars wearing a polygraph. Bro, Nines is on a different level. Oh yeah, I told you he's retiring.
I don't believe it.
He's retiring.
It's all marketing, though.
You think it's marketing?
I say we come out next video and say we're gonna retire.
What? Should I tell them we're retiring?
Yeah.
Bro, for Nines to retire is so sad because... But I think he's gonna do a Jay-Z thing. Jay-Z retired and then came back in like 2006 with Kingdom Come. You don't know what that is because you've never listened to a Jay-Z album. Okay, we don't need to do this again. But I think that's what Nines is gonna do.
I can see it because Jay-Z and Nines are on the same level. Too much Jay-Z off work.
Jay-Z and Nines are on the same level. I don't know about that.
Too much Jay-Z.
I would say that Nines is the equivalent of Jay-Z in the UK.
Nah, that's gonna be Dave.
No,
I'll be honest.
it's not.
It is.
It's not.
Bro, you need to put some respect on his name.
I would say that Dave is our equivalent. Dave is the equivalent of Kendrick Lamar. Like I don't think Jay-Z is the best lyricist. I think he's a high level lyricist, but his influence and what he's been able to do is high level. I think Kendrick Lamar is a high level lyricist. Like, would you say Wretch 32 or Dave?
In terms of lyrics?
Yeah.
Oh, don't put me on the spot, bro. Don't be doing that.
Listen,
Don't be doing
let's
that.
not get distracted.
What do you think?
Let me give it to these guys first. Pause. Now, as I was just saying, so you're like, Christ, you know, but Nero, Christ was crucified. What are you talking about? Well, you have to understand that Jesus was crucified. Jesus Christ. Christ is a title, it's not an individual. It is a high level of consciousness that is one with God that exists within you. Because whether you realize this or not, as Jesus said in John 10:34, is it not written in your law, I've said you are God's? The law he was referring to was Psalm 82:6. Feel free to look this up. I have no desire to lie to anybody. I'm not one of them spiritual niggas that's gonna tell you don't even bother looking it up because they're gonna lie. Just look for it yourself. Now, so on that note, when we're looking at Christ, so you have to understand that Christ was crucified in a place called Calvary.
Women aren't one size fits all, so we stopped making boots that way. Fall's trending style.
Either spot like that or like this, depending upon what you're looking at. Calvary in Greek, you get the word Golgotha. Golgotha in Aramaic means skull. Please look this up. I'll get AJ to put it on the screen so you niggas know we're not just talking a good game. Christ was crucified in the skull. Whose skull? Yours. Where was Christ crucified? He was crucified in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is where? In the east. If you pull up a compass, you'll see that the east is always to the right. Reference to the right hemisphere of your mind, right hemisphere of your brain. Your brain is split into two regions, right hemisphere and left hemisphere. Ironically, when you have the capability of balancing the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, you then activate the neocortex, which is synonymous with the third eye. This is what the CIA spent millions on in their process called the Gateway Experiment, hemisync, balancing the two left hemispheres of the brain in order to enhance your spiritual capabilities. Now, this is why, biblically and on a religious in a religious tense, you know, it's always about sitting at the right hand of God. Jesus sits on the right hand of God, the right hand of my Father. Someone commented on the last video, I'm left-handed, am I cooked? You're cooked, buddy. It's game over for you. It's completely game over for you. But of course, all jokes aside, you know, when they're talking about it, they don't mean it literally. They mean it from a point of view. This is why in John 21:6, the disciples go fishing. They cast their nets to the left side of the boat. Jesus, or Christ, comes and says, cast your nets to the right side of the boat. The right side of the boat, then they couldn't even pull up the fish because there was a multitude of fish. It's always a reference to the right side. And this is what you have to understand. So you're like, okay, Nero, I get this. It's making sense. Christ is a level of consciousness that is within me when I have the capability of placing myself above the illusion. So what you need to understand is that everything that Christ was saying were instructions on how you can rise yourself, transcend yourself up to his level. Because of the truth of the matter is, Christ doesn't give you life, you give life to Christ. That's a bar, write that down. Because you need to resurrect Christ in the same way Jesus or Christ was resurrected in the Bible. Now, don't worry, we're just getting started. So, you're like, all right, cool. What does the Antichrist have to do with me manifesting my desired reality? I get it, you're eager. It's okay. Bit of patience. Tranquilo. I'm in a gala get wild or tonight. Wild. Or tonight. Why are Jamaican songs so sexual? What's up with you guys? Why? What's going on with you lot?
Which is why when people say they just listen to Bashment, like,
yeah.
You wake up and listen to it.
You get me? How can you wake up and do Bashment? I remember being in school and this girl, I won't say her name, she would study to Bashment. I'm thinking,
That's insane.
what are you doing? All
I'm gonna say, they're subconscious.
Like, if she start cocking me a fine though tonight and you're just studying to that. Like, anyways, here's what you guys have to understand. So when we're conceptualizing two particular parts, the first thing that you have to understand is this. So Jesus or Christ and the Antichrist. Well, here's the thing. Now that we've properly defined what Christ is, then it makes sense when we're conceptualizing what the Antichrist is. If Christ is a high level of consciousness, or the highest level of consciousness materialized in a human's body, then anti means against that. So the true definition of Antichrist isn't some individual, some devil that wants to ruin your life, so on and so forth. And here's the thing. The devil's no different from the boogeyman. I know it's going to hit your ears a bit difficult, but what's the difference between the devil and the boogeyman? One is that children believe it, and the other is that adults believe it. Nothing more, nothing less. And here's the thing. Antichrist means against what? A high level of consciousness. An Antichrist is anything that is against a high level of consciousness. Now, this is where it gets a bit scary.
Does it get scary? Not for real. Not for real. Sign up.
Your Antichrist could be you. It could be your old you. It could be your friends. It could be your family. In a larger sense, it is the world. The Antichrist is anything that is against you ascending to your high level of consciousness, being materialized in your physical human vessel. Nothing more, nothing less. That is what the Antichrist is. And if Christ is a high level of spiritual mastery, and in order for you to materialize your desired reality, it is an entirely spiritual process. It's just spiritual science. If something is working against you, now do you see how your capability?
Oh yeah, it's over now. After this video is over.
Ended at every step. But don't worry, I'm going to explain how you can actually get past all of this to materialize your desired reality.
I already know that. All of that just really just reminded me of something.
Antichrist isn't some being sat in the depths of the earth waiting to snatch your soul, pause, in the afterlife. It is anything that is representative of being against your ability to rise yourself to a high level of consciousness, a high level of frequency. When I'm talking about highest level of consciousness, I'm not meaning that you got to be one of them vegan sandal niggas that are doing telekinesis and, you know, whatever else these spiritual niggas do these days. All I mean is that anything that has, when I'm talking about a high level of consciousness, I'm talking about a high level of awareness. Seeing reality from a higher perspective, hence why biblically
maintaining that
all the major individuals that spoke to God went on a mountain. The mountain is representative of the elevation in your consciousness above what the world is showing you at that particular time. Elijah. Moses, Jesus, Jacob, Abraham. All these individuals went up to a mountain. Ascending a mount, going up to the mountain is nothing more than a metaphorical, metaphysical representation of you ascending yourself above the level of consciousness that the world wants you to have, such as life being unfair. Which ironically, when you believe the idea that life is unfair, because your subconscious mind accepts it as truth, it becomes materialized into your reality, and then life is no longer fair. And we can pick apart any particular belief like this. The truth of the matter is, hence why in the Hermetic tradition they say all truths are half-truths. Because is it true? Yes, if your subconscious mind believes it. Is it true? No, if your subconscious mind doesn't believe this. And we can extrapolate this to multiple aspects. Everything that you regard to be a truth, I want you to understand, if your truths aren't serving you, then they're just there to control you. So Antichrist is anything. Could be the world, in a sense it is. Your family, your friends, you, the old version of you that you're trying to escape. Anything that is against a high level of consciousness, anything that is against you being above the illusion. And here's the thing, this is what Jesus and the devil represent, both of them. They're one. They're both aspects of you. Relax, we're gonna get there. By the way, these AI spiritual channels are out of control. Like, these niggas are out of control. Like, we'll drop a video, like 3 hours later, they'll have the exact same video with the exact same title. I blame you niggas. I blame all of you niggas that are getting your spirituality from AI. You know what I'm saying? They're out of control. Like, fair enough, one of them like must have tagged us and been like, you know, credits to you. The other ones, they just...
Nah,
morally bankrupt. I'm just like, damn. I'm certain these niggas will like download this video as an MP3, transcribe it, tell ChatGPT to rewrite it, get it add a voice to it and slap it on. That's insane.
At least you know they got post notifications.
Do you know what's crazy?
That's
We've never asked
insane.
anybody to subscribe. Oh, by the way, in case you're new here, we've never asked anybody to subscribe. We've never asked anybody to like a video. We've never asked anybody to turn on post notifications. Somebody actually said we have mental notifications. Because some people don't have them on, but when I post, it's like they know. Quantum entanglement, we're connected, me and you. Now, here's the thing. As I was saying, Jesus and the devil both represent two particular paths that you can go down. So here's the thing. Let's say over here and over here. We'll put Jesus on the right side because it's to do, and that's very, very intentional, by the way. Somebody said Nero drops triple entendres. I actually do, but people don't catch it. I really do. Because even me putting Jesus to the right side, why did I put it to the right side, AJ?
Something about Jesus being on the right side of the bowl, the east
What?
to the right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, cool. Exactly. For those who didn't hear, he was referring to the points that I made earlier about the right side being where Jesus was crucified, in the skull, the mind, Golgotha, the resurrection, Jesus sitting on the right hand of the Father, the right hand of God, or referring to the right hemisphere of your brain, which is the side of your brain that is more creative, intuitive, and spiritual. That's what it's representative of. And the devil being on the left side because the devil represents the logic. And logic is quite the enemy, and I'm going to explain why.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying this, you can, just go out here and do a mad thing.
Yeah,
I know
right.
there's always some dumbass who likes to be like, so you're saying I shouldn't be logical and I should run into a wall? Like, you're a funny guy, nigga. But anyways, these are the two paths that you can go down. Because what they represent is this. They both represent a descent of consciousness. And when I say a descent of consciousness, think about fallen angels. What if I told you that you were the fallen angels? Now, of course, the fallen angels created the Nephilim, so on and so forth, but just listen to what I'm about to say. Fallen angels is essentially consciousness that descends down where? To the physical plane, which is essentially what happens with you. That's how you got here on this earth. You descended down from being part of God. Think about it like we're all in a cloud of God, and all of us are rain droplets. We all rain down to the physical plane, and that's us. That's what your spirit done. Your soul and your spirit decided to come down to this physical plane, just like the fallen angels. Now, here's the thing. You can be Jesus or the devil, because what Jesus represents is consciousness, your consciousness falling down to the physical plane, but recognizing its true identity. And because of recognition of its true identity, was beyond and above the illusions of reality, and essentially had the capability to once again become one with God. But what the devil represents is your ass taking a false identity, falling into the illusion. And when I say the illusion, I'm referring to the illusion of reality. In the ancient Hindu traditions, this is what they call the world of Maya. World of Maya meaning illusion. What you see in reality isn't necessarily reality. I need you to understand that reality, or what you conceptualize as everything real, or the third dimensional realm, or the physical plane, you only see 0.035% of it. So you see a small fraction of what truly exists, for the mere fact that visible light constitutes a small fraction of the entirety of the visible, the electromagnetic spectrum. So once again, visible light only constitutes a small fraction of the entirety of the electromagnetic spectrum. The only reason we see anything around us is because of visible light. Visible light bounces off surfaces through a process called refraction, hits your eye. Your eyes don't see. Your eyes send electrical signals to your brain. Your brain creates an image of what it thinks it's seeing. This is why optical illusions and magicians with sleight of hand can trick you. So, being an illusion, and simply meaning that it's not the full picture. The devil took on a false identity, descended into illusion, and supposedly is separate. But here's the thing. Anytime that we're separated from God, God being the highest level of consciousness, the impersonal energy, anytime that we're separated from God, we suffer. We suffer because it's not our natural state. And anytime you go against your natural state of who you truly are, it's always going to result in suffering. And these are the two paths that you can go down as an individual. This is what the devil and Jesus represent. Now here's the thing. It's very important for you to understand this. When we're talking about being above illusions, you need to pay very close attention to some of the things that were being said by Jesus to make sure you're not falling into the trap of the devil. Because the devil fell down to the world, saw all around him, and saw everything around him, and took it literally and as real, and he decided to claim it. To claim an illusion, that doesn't make any sense. But Jesus, the difference between these two individuals comes down to two particular words. I'm on my knees, no diddy. Mind sight.
What if better was easier than you ever thought possible?
Versus eyesight. I want you to tell me who had eyesight and who had mind sight. Hopefully you said it. The devil's the one that got tricked by eyesight, and Jesus is the one who had mind sight. Now, what does this mean? And this is what this whole video is about when we're talking about a deep level of manifestation. I want you to conceptualize like this. Jesus is mind sight, the devil is eyesight. Jesus is mind sight, the devil is eyesight. And I want to explain exactly what I mean. Slow down, I just want to get to know ya. But don't turn around, cause the pretty round thing looks good to me. That nigga was a menace. Bro said slow down, but don't turn around, cause that pretty round thing looks good to me.
Chris Brown's just as bad.
Chris Brown's what?
Just as bad.
Chris,
Lyrics.
you think so? If you actually listen to Gimme That by Chris Brown, like, Chris Brown actually doesn't get the ratings that he deserves. Obviously,
he did beat up. Yeah.
It's true. But he is like that though. Like musically.
Oh.
Kiss Kiss, Give Me That, Forever. Tell me how I'm supposed to breathe with no air.
The thing with Chris Brown.
How do you expect me? Yeah, he does do that. But he's tapped in, He posted the Kabbalion the other day on his story and people sent it to me. Yeah.
No, I was like, hollering as a glance. Probably watches his video.
I don't know about that. Cool. Now, as I was saying, the easiest way to conceptualize these two individuals, or the most obvious distinction that you can make between them both, is that Jesus is mind sight. Let me put Jesus on the right. Why did I put him on the right side, guys? Hopefully you said it. Mind sight. Somebody said I don't come here for knowledge, I come here to laugh. I don't know how to feel about that, to be honest.
Get off the channel.
Like, I know I'm a funny nigga, I know, but like, simultaneously, I'm not just talking for fun, you know what I mean? Anyways, yes, mind sight versus eyesight. Anytime that you allow your eyes to dictate your internal state, you will always be a slave. To reality. And for the mere fact that it's actually your internal state that leads to your external state. And if your internal state can be altered down to a level of negativity, or somebody can implant a particular idea, and it's so easy. Look, I'm going to show you how I can plant an idea into your head right now. Don't think of the word elephant. right? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's really that simple. And this happens on a down to a level you're not even aware of. Now, of course, when we're talking about your desired reality, of course, has a particular appearance. I've been accused of having OCD. I don't know. When we're talking about your desired reality, that desired reality is essentially a frequency. That's a frequency in that sense is something that you need to hold. Now, when you say, how do I change my frequency? Please go watch my other videos. I can't repeat the same thing every single time. Trust me, it's there. But understanding this, your desired reality is a particular frequency. Now, that frequency isn't something that has yet materialized down onto the physical plane. So the world will always try to do one thing, and this is to do this: make you lose confidence. And I need you to remember this.
If your trading account is between $5,000 and $10,000, this ad is for you, because that's the exact account size range.
The world will always attempt to make you lose confidence. Why? Because confidence is the base foundation. It is the most important word when it comes to manifestation. And I know this because this is exactly what I'm hired by entrepreneurs to help them with. Confidence is the most important word when it comes to manifestation. The world will always try to shake your manifestation and to make you feel... What's the opposite of confidence? Self-doubt.
Doubt, yeah.
The world will always attempt to inspire a certain level of self-doubt in you. It will always attempt to shake your confidence. And it does that because it knows if I can show them something that is opposed to their desired reality, because the only reason you want your desired reality is because it hasn't manifested. But because you take your eyes so serious, you allow the world to make you internally become imbalanced. And that internal imbalance eventually becomes externally imbalanced, because as within, as without. This is the course. This is the nature through how reality is materialized. And if you do that, if you allow your eyes to allow your internal state to be imbalanced, you will always be a slave to reality each and every single time. And that's what the devil essentially represents, being a slave to your reality. With that being said, when we're talking about the conceptualization of what mindsight means, mindsight, as it says esoterically in Corinthians, is to be absent from the body and present with the Lord, to have a high level of consciousness. And when we're talking about high frequency, I'm not talking about you niggas that think drinking coconut water and eating plant-based food is going to make you high frequency and saying grand rising instead of good morning. It's nothing to do with that. When we're talking about frequency, we're essentially talking about a lens through which you see reality. We're talking about a certain level of awareness. And to be on a high frequency, or to be stepped by mindsight, is to have the high level of awareness of what? That reality has its illusions. And one of its illusions is what you can see. Because everything that we can see is only 0.0035%, remember. To be absent from the body and present with the Lord. Absent from the body, absent from the physical plane that gets trapped by its 5 physical senses, that has associated the world to be real because it can touch it and see it, and to be present with the highest level of consciousness, which is the high frequency, to understand that your desired reality is a frequency that is invisible. It's not something that doesn't exist. You're not creating anything. You're simply taking what is invisible and making it visible by your ability to maintain frequency. How do I maintain frequency, Nero? Relax, you're going to get some. You maintain the frequency of your desired reality quite simply. Left pocket full of pink fitties, right pocket got blues. And you maintain by not becoming a slave to your eyesight. And once again, this will require a certain level of practice, a certain level of discipline. Everything that I'm giving you right now is mental instruction, so make sure you're taking those notes, make sure to leave them in the comments. Understanding this, the only way that you can maintain your frequency is being one, equipped to be able to survive the tests that the universe throw at you when it's testing and G-checking your frequency. And you can go watch a video. What's our video called? Pass these 2 tests and it will manifest. You can watch that video. That will help you maintain frequency. And then the other one about outsmarting the old version of you. Those 2 videos essentially wrap all of this up, because you have to maintain your frequency. Because if you don't have the ability to maintain your frequency, then it will never have the ability to materialize in your reality, and you'll never get to experience it. In order for you to materialize your desired reality, it is absolutely critical that you live by mind sight and not eyesight. If you live in eyesight, you will be trapped down to the level of the devil, who is an individual who got caught up in the illusions of everything around him, as opposed to the highest level of consciousness like Christ had the ability to ascend to. And this is what mind sight represents. And it's quite obvious. And I'll give you this example. I'll give you this small example. I believe it is Matthew 13:12. Give me a second, guys.
You can skip this video, but you can't skip the truth. Right now in North Gaza, children.
And yes, we really do all of these in one take. There's no edits. There's no stopping and starting. That's just how it is.
You reckon people would call you delusional for living with mindset?
People would definitely call you delusional for living in mindset.
Facts.
Because here's the thing. Mindset requires you to actually deny what your eyes are seeing. Think about it like this. There's a story of Daniel in the Bible. He got thrown in the lion's den. This dude was thrown in a den with lions, bro. But they didn't eat him. Why? Because he turned his attention away from what he was seeing and placed his attention up to God. That's representative of, the lions are representative of everything in the world that wants to eat you, pause, or ruin you, or a certain level of suffering, or a certain level of pain. The more you have the capability to allow your eyes to dictate your internal state, then your internal state will be reflected into your reality and materialize as a condition, which then you stay in a perpetual cycle of being continuously in this loop that you never get to break out of, all because you didn't have the understanding that what you're seeing isn't real.
Facts.
Simple. And stop calling me the Black Bob Proctor. Like, I'm me, nigga. Like, I'm just me.
Let me go warm up my food.
Now, Matthew 13:12. I believe, AJ, and please fact check me because some people are shocked that I just know these verses off the top of my head. Matthew 13:12 states that something along the lines of, paraphrasing, to whoever has abundance, more will be given. And those who do not have, even what they do have, will be taken away. Right?
Yeah.
Perfect. How do you know these verses off the top of your head, Nero? Because I know this shit. Why don't you have a script or a transcript, Nero? Because I know my shit. Told you, me and these niggas ain't the same. Like, you need to understand this. Now, Matthew 13:12. AJ will put it up on the screen. Thank you, AJ, in advance. Matthew 13:12 states something to the effects of, to whoever has abundance, more will be given to him. But whoever does not have, even what they do have, will be taken away. Now, what does this have to do with anything, Nero? Of course, this is a simplistic example into the understanding that the devil represents a certain level of scarcity. Because anytime that you make the world your source, you're drawing from a finite source. But anytime you align with God being your source, then you're tapping into an infinite source. And this is one thing that I teach all my clients to do in particular, but I'm going to give you guys an understanding into this. But in order to understand this, you have to understand one very, very, what I call the annoying law of the universe. The annoying law of the universe is you can only have what you already have. And this is essentially what this verse is esoterically saying. And this can explain why poor people stay poor and rich people get rich on an esoteric level. Whoever has abundance, more will be given to him. But whoever does not have, even what they do have will be taken away. Having isn't about anything to do with the material. Remember, mindsight, not eyesight. It's not about having more. It's about mentally being more. It's about mentally being on the frequency of abundance. Because here's the thing, you can only have what you already have. And this is one thing that Christ was teaching. This is one thing that you need to understand when it comes to the materialization of whatever it is that you want. And please extrapolate this to money, extrapolate this to clients, extrapolate this to potential relationships. In order for you to materialize what you want, you can only have what you already have. And what is the true testament of having something? Not wanting it. Not wanting / needing it. Because if you want or need something, that indicates a frequency to the universe that you don't have it. And if you don't have it, you can only have what you already have. And whoever has abundance, more will be given. Why? Because the universe, and I want you to understand this, the universe simply will magnify your internal state. A lot of people say the universe will reflect your internal state, but I don't like that, because the universe actually magnifies it through the process as follows. The universe will magnify your internal state by making it be manifested into your internal state. And when it's manifested into your internal state, you end up in this perpetual loop where based upon what you're seeing, it makes you feel worse. And based upon what you're seeing, it makes you feel worse. And based upon what you're seeing, it makes you feel worse. And then your internal state is in this perpetual cycle of being worse internally and being reflected externally. The universe will magnify however you feel internally. So what is a true testament of abundance? A true testament of abundance is not needing it or not wanting it. But how do I stop needing? How do I stop wanting, Nero? Relax, you're going to get some. You need to understand what the real game is. So if we put DR here, once again, not for the horny niggas thinking the Dominican Republic. Let's say that that's DR. Let's say that this is you. The only reason you want to go into your desired reality is what? And I need you to understand this. Why do you want to go into your desired reality? Ask yourself. And when you get an answer, ask yourself again. Go on, ask yourself.
Freedom.
And when you get that answer, ask yourself again. What do you think it is? Why do you think you want it? Do you think you want it for the money? Do you think you want it for the security? Do you think you want it so you never have to worry about bills again? Do you want it so you never have to go a day without food again? Do you want it so you never have to worry about bills, light bills, Wi-Fi? Which is awesome shit I've been through, by the way. Once again, they call me the ghetto's alchemist. But why do you want those things? And here's the thing. The mind will trick you into thinking you want these things because you want them materially. No. The only reason you'll ever want anything in life, anything, the only reason you'll ever want anything in life is to feel a way that you don't feel now.
Here's what you're gonna do. Use this app. It's called Case Connect Compensation Calculator. Now, what's dope about it is
you want more money because you want more security. You want more security so you never have to feel scared about not having money again. Extrapolate this on anything. You don't want that person because you want that person. You want that person because how you're going to feel when you get that person. Whether that's a relationship, whether that's fucking, that's entirely up to you, nigga. I'm not here to tell you which one that is. The only reason you want that burger or that, I don't know, what are these spiritual niggas? The only reason you want that acai bowl is because you're going to feel a way that you're currently not feeling. This can be extrapolated to all aspects of life. So then what you have to understand is that your desired reality is a middleman. We cut out the middleman and go straight to those feelings. Because if that's what you really want, then what you don't understand is that feeling a way that you don't feel right now, how would you feel in your desired reality? That's a frequency. And ironically, that's going to be the same frequency. If you enter that now, that will lead to your desired reality. Because what you think is the destination is the starting location. How you think you're going to feel when you get to a point is actually the prerequisite to experiencing that. You being abundant before the world proves it to you is exactly how more abundance will be given unto you. And I'll give you an example. I remember growing up, of course, you know, in the ends, what we call the ends over here, council estate, what you like call the ghetto over there, or projects or whatever. And I always used to see homeless people, and I always used to, you know, be like to mom, you know, can you, you know, give them money, whatever. And sometimes she would, but more often than not, she'd be like, I don't have anything to give. Of course, you know, she had her own issues, struggling financially, so on and so forth. And I always just wanted to give to homeless people. And we never gave. Now, when I got older, and I actually met the global head director of Specsavers when I was donating food to a homeless guy once at like 11:30, crazy. And he was like, can I take you out for a drink? And I was like, no. And he was like, what do you do? I told him. I was like, what do you do? He was like, global head director of Specsavers. I said, let's go. But I tell that story to say something in particular. Let's say you, and extrapolate this to all aspects of life, whether it's your time, whether it's your love, whether it's your money, whatever it is that you desire to materialize. The particular act of giving in that sense, giving to a homeless person, let's say, that indicates to the universe that you're giving because you have. If you're not giving, if you're like, I don't have any money to give, and damn well, nigga, we know you have something to give. Even if you think you have nothing, somebody has less, trust me. So if you then give to that individual, that indicates to the universe that this person is giving because they have. And whoever has abundance, more will be given unto him. But those who don't have, and I don't have any money to give, I don't have anything to give, even what you do have will be taken away. Because what you're actually doing is aligning yourself with the Antichrist, which is the lowest level of consciousness. And that lowest level of consciousness is trapped up in the illusion of things. You think you don't have enough. You think you don't. But the truth of the matter is the very truth of your essence is abundance. So you suffer. Now, of course, Jesus, the devil, Christ, Antichrist, in order for you to actually materialize your desired reality, you need to be above the illusions of reality. And in this video, I've given you that now. You don't need to worry about the Antichrist.
Back in 2022, I lost.
All right, y'all.
And tell these niggas this ain't no fake shit. I talk to you every day.
Nigga, I'm the hope in my trap, just put on for my hood. 4 deep in the